The unspoken shift, Canada's rise and America's retreat. Have you noticed something huge happening right now in 2025 that hardly anyone is talking about? Canada, long considered America's closest ally, is rewriting the global trade rulebook, and Washington is being pushed to the sidelines. This seismic shift is rooted in America's own tough tariffs, relentless inflation, and years of shaky economic policy from D.C. The fallout? Core U.S. industries are taking heavy hits. Some names you might guess, but others will shock you. If you miss the last name on this list, you'll miss the clearest clue yet that a new world order is forming, one where the U.S. is no longer at the center. 1. Retail, the first cracks on the shelf. The first crack showed up on store shelves in Canada. After Ottawa's sudden policy pivot, the first American giant to stumble was retail. For decades, U.S. brands dominated every corner, from electronics and food to fashion and home goods. But now that dominance is slipping fast. One of America's largest retail corporations just watched its Canadian market share collapse by 23%. The company's once rock-solid $847 million in revenue now hangs by a thread. Wall Street reacted instantly, with the stock dropping 8% within hours of Canada's New Deal. Investors are now asking the question no one wanted to say out loud: has the Made in America era in Canada already come to an end? This shift isn't just about cold numbers, it's visible in everyday life. Canadian supermarkets are swapping out American goods for Korean products. 2. Auto parts, the full-on fracture. If retail was the first crack, the auto sector is the full-on fracture. Products disappearing from shelves in a few weeks is one thing, but what's happening on the streets will shape decades to come. Roads once dominated by American cars are now filling up with Asian models, from Japanese sedans to Korean SUVs, and the pace of this shift is accelerating, almost impossible to reverse. U.S. auto parts, worth about $1.2 billion a year in the Canadian market, are being squeezed hard by foreign competition. Korean brake systems with a 15% tariff advantage are knocking American suppliers out at every level. It doesn't take much, just a few $100s difference on a set of parts, for Canadian customers and factories to walk away from U.S. products. The scary part is this hit isn't just from foreign rivals. It's also driven by America's own giants making their own pivots. Even Detroit's icons are slowly abandoning home field loyalty. 4. Energy and data, lifelines under strain. If agriculture exposed America's weakness on the ground, then energy and data reveal just how fragile Washington has become at its very central nervous system. These are the two lifelines of any modern superpower, and both are slipping out of America's control. In less than 2 years, one of the biggest U.S. energy corporations saw its access to Canadian crude oil plunge by 34%. Refineries that once ran at full capacity are now operating at just 67%. Long-term contracts, once guaranteed for decades, are quietly being rerouted to partners in Europe and East Asia. 5. Investors saw the danger immediately, and the company's stock sank 15%. If energy and data are the lifeblood, this isn't just a short-term loss, and finance it's a signal that faith in America's energy security is evaporating. But even these pillars, once a warning that Washington has lost a strategic lever that once forced allies to lean on it. One major American manufacturing corporation, with $2.7 billion in annual revenue from Canada, has been forced to move its production lines across the border. Not out of loyalty, but out of survival. Only by setting up shop in Canada can they access the Pacific trade routes that Washington has now been cut out of. The cost is painfully clear: American jobs traded away for a ticket into foreign markets. And once that choice is made, it almost never comes back. For the towns that lived off these factories, that decision hit like a punch to the chest. And it doesn't stop there. A new alliance between German and Swiss tech giants has chosen Canada as its partner, cutting American companies out of the value chain altogether. Contracts for automation, artificial intelligence, and next-generation battery storage, the golden prizes of the modern industrial era, are flowing into Toronto and Montreal, not Silicon Valley. Once, Washington stood at the center of the Atlantic axis, holding an irreplaceable role in high-tech. Now, that axis is tilting north.